Kids are confused about sex. As a culture, we have separated sex into a lot of different boxes. Industries, if you will, that are selling sex in a lot of different kinds of ways. Kids are learning about each of these different aspects of sex in entirely different places in their lives, and no one is connecting all the dots for them. So, what are these different aspects of sex? First is biology sex. Now, this is health class. This is sperm and eggs and babies and a lot of stuff about sexually transmitted diseases. This is embarrassing to most kids. They listen reluctantly and they're really trying to not think about it very much. But how does this relate to Victoria's Secret? How, in fact, does all this biology, sex of reproduction have anything to do with what kids really want to know about, and that's the power of being sexy? We have sold kids the power of being sexy from the time they were really young. The link between Victoria's Secret's sexy and reproduction is a conversation about sexual desire. Sexual desire is a huge power, but we don't talk to our kids about it, and they need that conversation. Sexual desire is a power so intense that as a species we actually depend on it for our survival. Being able to elicit sexual desire in others and having sexual desire ourselves is the energy that keeps the whole species going. Kids need to understand this, they need to hear it, and they need to know that becoming a responsible adult means knowing how to use this energy, the energy of their sexuality, in a responsible way, how to control and direct the power of sexual desire. To not talk to our kids about sexual desire is like giving them a power as powerful as giving them the keys to a car and giving them no instructions, no education about how to use that power responsibly. The other aspect of sexuality that gets all mixed up in all of this is this whole idea of love and romance. Kids hear about love and romance all the time. As a matter of fact, when I ask teens, why is it that you decided to have sex with someone? Sometimes they'll say to me, well, because I was in love. After a while, I started to ask, well, what does that mean? How did you know you were in love? Well, it's a feeling that I had. Oh, okay, love is a feeling, but exactly what kind of feeling is it? Is it a feeling of being horny? Is it a feeling of, oh, he looked at me that way and that felt great? Is it a feeling of, oh, she let me be just hers and she's just mine, and that kind of sense of ownership, protectiveness? What exactly is love? Now, we're not going to figure that out in 5 minutes, but to not have the conversation about what love means to a child or how it can be confused with other things is to really send them out there at the disposal of all the television shows and video games and movies that they're going to be watching that is really not going to be telling them much about love at all. The last and probably most important aspect of talking to kids about sex is this whole idea of how do you know what is the right thing to do? The moral aspect of sex, the ethical aspect of sexual behavior. How do you make those decisions? When's it okay to be sexual with someone? When's it's not? What kind of rules, what kind of guidelines do you use? Now, if you use religious guidelines, then it's not just enough to tell the kids those guidelines. You have to explain to them why those guidelines are relevant in the world they're living in today. And you have to keep that conversation. Just don't think that because you said it, it's all going to sink in there. Whether or not you have religious guidelines, it's incredibly important to think through where you stand with regard to ethics and morality when it comes to sexual behavior, and to really give your kids an understanding of how your family feels about this. And you keep the conversation going and going, whether they roll their eyes and slam the door or whatever. You just keep talking. There are millions of dollars being spent by many different industries telling our kids what sexual behavior should be like. They don't have our kids' best interest at heart, and we as parents need to get there first with our ideas and our values. If you want to find out more about how to have these conversations, go to drsharonmaxwell.com. There's a lot of useful information there. And good luck.